Probably looking at cost.
All right, I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, and anything further? Do I have it? Now?
Next?
Next!
You're up,
Right.
Mr.
You don't mind if I take a corner of the table?
A whole corner?
A whole corner.
Small corner.
Small corner.
Small. Okay. I'll get out of your way.
Hello, my name is Edward Peruta. I attended last month's meeting, and I took away several comments that I had heard. One was tabling of cases when civil actions are filed. And there was a question about a legal opinion that had been rendered, that the board had requested a copy of it and had never been provided a copy. Is that kind of what I heard last month?
I think we discussed that, and I think that Brian was talking about the same, and not just last month, but in the past.
I filed an FOI request with Mr. Attorney Jonathan Beeman
Right behind you.
on the
JB.
night of the 20th. In yesterday's email, a month later, I have a document dated September 14th, 2005, and I heard, excuse me, I'm not good at names,
Stevens,
Ms. Stevens,
yes.
how to proceed with cases that involve officers no longer employed by the city. In the event an officer is no longer employed by the city, there is no likelihood that the chief of police will discipline that officer. In the event that that officer is rehired, a civilian police review board recommendation, if submitted to the chief, may not be placed in the officer's file, depending on the terms of the relevant collective bargaining agreement. So if for whatever reason Sean Spell came back to employed by the city of Hartford, and you had a decision that you made,
It can't go in his file.
it's done.
That's understandable.
Now, in here it does talk about how to proceed with citizens' complaints that also have civil or criminal cases pending for the same allegations. Simply says such matters should not be heard until such time as the civil or criminal matter has been resolved. Now, I would imagine that last meeting wasn't the first meeting that this topic came up.
Absolutely, but I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Peruta, but what were you reading from? What was that?
Here's
You
a
gave us
copy.
you gave
Pass
us-
it
you
around.
gave us a date?
September
But is there a communication
2005.
between Corporation Counsel? Is there an opinion? Or what is it?
Right, and I asked for prompt access so I could be prepared for tonight. I didn't
Okay.
get it till yesterday. But I believe that Mr. Attorney Jonathan Beeman has been sitting at these meetings, and he wrote a letter to Mr. Walter Butler, chairperson, on March 20th, 2012, explaining,
I have no idea.
should be in your records, whoever keeps them. That's a letter from your senior or assistant senior assistant corporation counsel to your chairperson.
You think I remember something 4 years old?
That's why we have minutes.
But I have no remembrance of that letter at all.
Correspondence section of an agenda, correspondence received. The correspondence is maintained by, I would imagine, Ms. Taylor. She keeps the minutes, she keeps the agendas, and she keeps the correspondence that comes in.
So what is your point?
No, here's my point.
So let's get to the point, because we want to go home.
I would like to see the letter, though.
This meeting is scheduled till 8 o'clock. It's only 7:30. And I know you have other things. If you'd like to shut me down, Mr.
No,
Butler,
not at all. I just,
I am the one person, I believe, that advocates that in today's society with what's going on across the country, this is probably the most important board that the city could have
I agree.
to stop what could happen in this city. Now, I also received cases pending board action. And it says, for all dates, total cases pending board action for all dates is 25. My name's not on here. I would think that it's still a pending case, it's just tabled. but my name is not on here.
But what do we, I mean, I don't know what the paperwork that where that came from. They came from.
FOI from the Corporation Counsel's office.
So they're saying there's 25 cases pending?
25? it shows
Technically, that we
25.
haven't been able to
And
vote
this
on.
could be investigations completed.
Right.
It says, I mean, you know, I'm giving these to you. I've got additional copies. I'm giving these to you.
Mhm.
Now,
Please, you got copies for everybody?
I don't, I have an extra packet, but, you know, I can email them to you.
No, I want a copy of the letter before I leave here tonight.
We might be, I mean, I'm sure Kim could probably accommodate us with a photocopy.
Copies?
Now,
Yeah.
I got time.
I'm gonna give you some facts. And this, Miss Stevens, was that,
Yes,
I
that's what
apologize,
it was.
I'll eventually
No,
get
no
to my
problem.
name.
Mhm.
My incident with Sean Spell occurred on the evening of September 12th, 2014 on Park Street. I walked into the Hartford Police Department's lobby on the morning of September 15th, the first business day, and I had looked at the form and had typed out a very detailed explanation of what happened on Park Street, and I listed from the checkoff box the civil rights violation, harassment, threatening, and I went down the list. And I have been to a police academy, and I do know how to read a statute, and I do know how to interpret elements and to identify things. Now, I went down and I listed. Now, my complaint goes to IA, and it goes to the board, and it's assigned to Integrated Security Services. I was told that there was a backlog at the board, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. I did not file a civil complaint until the 10th of August, 2015, after another incident with Sean Spell at the Taser homicide on Kelsey Street.
That's the one I remember.
I did not file an internal affairs complaint because they had exonerated Sean Spell on one of the 4 or 5 allegations I made, discourteous conduct. They did not find, and the chief's letter to me says, everything you said is true, but he didn't do anything wrong. And then I got a copy of Jackie over at Investigative Services report, and I was absolutely shocked. I happened to do a Saturday internet live show with retired Lieutenant Colonel Matt Tiska of the Connecticut State Police. I had an opportunity to show Integrated Security's report to retired Lieutenant Colonel Matt Tiska. He was shocked. My cousin is T. William Knapp, former chief of the Wethersfield Police Department, former executive director of POST, the training academy for the state of Connecticut. I showed him the reports from Integrated Security Services. He was shocked. I have video as my evidence. I have video of what occurred. Now, I did not know until September 20th, 2016, that you people had tabled my case. And I'll tell you who I put it on. Kim Taylor. Kim Taylor's job should have told me that my case was going to be placed on the agenda for consideration of being tabled. I've been doing FOI since it was Public Act 75-342. I've been doing FOI since January of 1976. That's 40 and a half years dealing with FOI. A public body like this cannot simply walk in and say, okay, we're going to table something. If it's not on the agenda, it has to have a 2/3 majority vote to be placed on the agenda. It has to be voted, it has to be motioned, it has to receive a second, it goes to discussion, and then it goes to a vote, which must be recorded in the minutes. I paid for my attorney to come down here to City Hall to look at the agendas and the minutes, and there is no reference to a tabling of the complaint made by Edward Peruta. Yet I'm not on the list, but there's no record of it ever being tabled. Who keeps the minutes? I don't know. Now, I have something else to show you that you may be shocked by. It says, and this is a letter from Natalie Fiola Guerreri, Senior Assistant Corporation Counsel, dated August 15, 2011, regarding the Police Civilian Review Board. And I'm just going to read to you number 4. If, for example, the board receives a case in June for the July meeting, if the July meeting is canceled due to a lack of quorum, the administrative assistant assigned to the Civilian Police Review Board will check the cases again in August to see whether the city has been noticed. That's notice of the lawsuit. If the city has been noticed, the administrative assistant assigned to the Civilian Police Review Board will notify the board that the case cannot be voted on due to the city being noticed of a suit. Now, was that done in my case? Is there notice from Ms. Taylor to this board that a civil case had been filed, and was it placed on the agenda? I believe the answer is no. You can have that. Now, I had asked, because I am infuriated at the quality of the investigative report that I saw. I've heard about this Mr. Morano. He's a ghost man to me.
Correct.
I don't know who he is. But I will tell you this, and I'm going to answer one of your questions. On January 7th of this year, the initiating department was Procurement Services. The contact person is a Bill Hutt at extension 79614. The project title is an independent investigator. The term of the contract is from February 1st, 2016 through January 13th of 2017. And Security Services of Connecticut gets paid by the city $83,333.33.
What's that again?
$83,333.33.
That's what they're getting.
There it is. Now,
I should have gave up the board and just went to my
I'm going to read to you because I have a document. I have a document referred to as a vendor performance evaluation. Now, the vendor performance evaluation is for Security Services of Connecticut. Was delivery of the equipment, goods, or services in accordance with the contract and purchase order terms? Yes. Was the equipment, goods, or services received, performed as specified in the contract specifications? Yes. Would you rate the quality of the equipment, goods, or services received or performed? Excellent, very good, satisfactory, or unacceptable? Satisfactory. Now, we're not talking about equipment and goods, we're talking about services, but I'm going to read it verbatim. Number 4, how would you rate the vendor's responsiveness to your needs and requirements? Excellent.
Wait, you need to stop right now.
Yeah, he's...
No, wait, let me finish, Walter, let me finish here. Who the hell signed that?
There's a
And do they read?
Kimberly Taylor, Senior Administrative Assistant, Department, and her department head signature, right there. Kimberly Taylor, rated independent investigator, Security Services of Connecticut, their services and responsiveness, excellent.
Yes, that's possible.
Possible? Walter, that's not
Oh, hold on. I'm almost done.
Excellent?
It's not them.
May I
You're
finish?
confusing integrated, which is not them.
May I finish?
Okay, no, let's get this right. Let's let Walter speak. I believe Morano worked for SSC, am I correct? Or do I have the wrong? And then Jacqueline Manning, she worked for HP.
Right.
Integrated.
Yeah, I call her HP because of I'm just used to it.
This is
So Mr. Morano, who we've already identified here as shoddy as hell,
Yeah.
was rated excellent.
That's correct.
That's
That's
and we
correct.
all know that.
Now,
I can't even say what that is. We know that that's not true.
now I have the document, date January 6, 2016, Procurement Services, Bill Hutt, same extension number, independent investigator. This is for integrated security services. The contract is for $100,000 for the year. Now, they rate integrated services, and I'm gonna go, 1 is yes, 2 is yes, 3 is satisfactory, 4 is excellent. Were the invoices billings, would you recommend utilizing the vendor in the future? Yes, and I didn't answer that question over there. Overall rating, very good. Kimberly Taylor, Senior Administrative Assistant, signed it on December 22nd, 2015. Now, I'm telling you that I filed my complaint against Sean Spell on the 15th of September 2014. The investigation by Integrated Security Services was completed in October. This board had from October through August of the next year to review my case and to come to a recommendation to the chief. I understand the backlog.
No, not the backlog. We commissioners did read your case. We were told that we can't vote on that case by council and Walter, so we just move on. That's what I explained earlier, that I wasn't familiar that it has to be seconded, that it should be on the agenda. I was not familiar with that. But we were ready to vote on that.
Mr. Torres, my concern was, I believe that this board was ready to vote without ever notifying me or having me come in to explain and to contradict what was in Integrated Services report. And I would have brought in retired Lieutenant Colonel Matt Tiska as a witness, as an expert witness in police procedure. I would have brought in retired Chief T. William Knapp.
But you know what, Mr. Butler?
We're
This
not
is the-
interested in these people. You're
Hear me out.
become a big person.
Hear me out.
It's getting annoying.
Absent those people that you may have been thinking of bringing here, I can tell you straight up where I was going to vote, because I remember the case.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay? I remember, and I know that there were other alternatives. So I can only speak for my vote, but you never know. We were all probably ready to sustain that, but we never got a chance to vote on it.
Well, here's
And we
my-
were directed,
okay,
and I was under the impression.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, no, and I was under the impression that, hey, we table it, and we just
That's
move
what-
on.
that's
Is that
how-
you can, you gotta agree with me, right?
That wasn't in, those weren't in the minutes because we were told explicitly that we just cannot look at those cases. And
Correct.
I think some of us asked for a specific court citing to back that, and I don't think we ever got it, I don't know. I don't know
That's
if
why the
you,
letter was generated.
but that letter, does it, I didn't see it that one, but does it cite case law, like a statute or something like that, or is it just like
It's
an opinion?
No, it's an opinion.
See, so that's,
Policy.
an opinion is an
And
opinion. It
in
doesn't-
2005, that's before my tenure, I started in
That's
06.
Attorney Rose, the one that I just asked you.
Right, but
That
I
seems
started
like-
in 06, but
'cause
that's
it
when,
seems like I'm sorry, go ahead.
all I will say for record is, what happened in 05,
It's all baloney. That we were able to, the board was able to hear cases that were pending in court. I think you gotta go back to your ordinance, the original ordinance,
no go.
and take a look at some of the corporation council, statements and find a contradiction between that and
Well,
the
let's see,
ordinance.
because I wanna-
Mr. Espinoza, if I have a couple of more things and then I'm gonna listen. Now, I think my attorney wants to talk.
Oh, I thought, I just wanted to add that you filed the complaint in September of 2014 against Sergeant Spell. I looked at the agendas for 2015 and 2016 and didn't see it on the agenda at all. So was it on an agenda before he filed his federal lawsuit in August 2015?
I don't believe so, but
Because I kind of looked, it didn't seem like it was that behind when I was looking at it didn't seem like you guys were that behind, that the backlog was that great. So I was wondering how it never made it
What
on.
period is this? What year?
September 2014.
We were way behind.
Okay. It didn't appear that way in the agenda. I looked at the agendas and you guys were pretty much on track for 14 and 15 cases. Yeah.
If I could
Yeah.
wrap up and then I'll let
I know
you
we had
people
some extra
discuss.
meetings
Yeah.
to catch up.
If I could make a couple of more remarks, I'm
Okay.
gonna stop and then I'm gonna listen. I heard here tonight that you're right. You're directly under the Corporation Council.
Correct.
And they have a vested interest in protecting the city in a civil lawsuit. And I believe that I was discriminated against because I filed a federal lawsuit. And the reason I filed the federal lawsuit is, here's what happened. I filed the complaint that Deputy Chief Foley requested that I file. The first business day after, he said, you know the drill, file a complaint. I said, I know how to do it, and I'll do it. And I knew where it was going to go. It wasn't until August 7th, when Sergeant Spell was doing it to me again, that I walked up to Sergeant Spell and I said, I know that you hear this every single day as a police officer. You're going to get sued. It's white noise to a police officer. It goes in one ear and comes out the other. I'm going to file a civilian complaint against you. I'm going to fire. You're going to get demoted, whatever. It's white noise to a police officer. But here's what I said to Sergeant Spell. You're getting sued Monday, and I'm telling you right now. And the lawsuit was filed in federal court electronically at 8 p.m. Monday night by Attorney Rachel Baird. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, is that this board could have watched the video if you didn't already see it, made a recommendation to the chief, okay? Because you know what I heard here at about 6:40 p.m.? If this isn't the first time, what was the phrase? Sean Spell? He's been here before?
Frequent
Excuse me?
flyer.
Frequent flyer. Now, I'm telling you that I support law enforcement as much as anybody else. I just don't support bad law enforcement.
I think we're
And I hear everybody at this table say that they said good job, good police work, you know. I understand good police work.
Mhm.
But somebody's not going to use their badge to threaten me with an arrest when I know I'm not doing anything wrong. And it's not my first rodeo on the streets of Hartford.
What do you actually want now?
Well,
I mean,
am I foreclosed from having you review Sergeant Sean Spell's threats to me on Park Street on the night of the 12th?
Is the suit still in?
It most certainly is.
Then we can't touch it.
Well, I read nothing about a statute or case law
I
that
know
mandated.
what
He
it
just
is.
said 2005 was before his time. Maybe it needs another look.
Yeah, the problem is there's not an authority that
I
says that we
I don't
can.
make those decisions. You know, the board doesn't make those decisions.
You know something? The board can make those decisions
Right.
regardless of the advice given.
Yes, the
The
thing.
board can make those decisions. The board can sit there and ask for an independent legal opinion. Because I'm going to tell you, when you foreclose this process to the citizens of Hartford, simply because they've gone into a federal court 14 months or 10 months after you filed it, you've got nothing. For me to find out when I come in here that my case was tabled, I thought it was either thrown out or it was sitting in a backlog someplace. And like I said, I put that directly on Kim Taylor. I sat here and I've heard her say, I can't return phone calls, I'm too busy.
I didn't say that.
Have you ever said that you don't have time to return phone calls?
No, I did not say that. Someone brought up, do I make a phone call and let the constituent know that their case is up for review? I do not do that. That's what I said.
Do you send any notice out to the
No, I
complainants?
sent a notice to the town clerk's office.
That's the problem.
There is a problem. You wonder why, and we're sitting back here going, how come all of these people go through the trouble of making a complaint and don't follow through with it? How come they go to the trouble of making it? What happens between signature on a complaint and contact by somebody? What happens? I'm not going to try to guess. And I'm not here. I'm here, and I'm going to be here. And I had said this before, not to shame you, not to beat you up. I brought you information that you've been asking for.
Listen.
I brought you information that I think you need, and there's more. I didn't take it. I got a stack today.
I'm actually appalled. I have just one thing to say, and you guys know that I got a big mouth, but I have to say it. I think, Kim, you knew that we were not happy with the services of this guy, and you rated this guy satisfactory and excellent, man. I mean, this is 2015. We've been talking about.
Should have been an
marijuana.
agenda item.
Give her a chance.
Well, no, I'm reading it, I'm looking at it.
Did you not get an email from me asking you for your opinion on the commissioners?
But you don't need it because we're here, we complain about him every month.
Yeah, she did
He's not good.
I did that based on what you guys said.
But wait a minute, but Kim, we also submit minutes and it's been noted that we're unhappy, so do you
Yes.
take that into account?
You're
That
the
written record?
secretary. I do the votes. You're the secretary.
Correct, but you received the information.
From you.
Right.
Whatever you put in the minutes is what these people get.
That's why I'm saying that I know that that's been noted.
If it's in the minutes, it's in the minutes, Ramon.
Okay, now, when you look at the minutes, when you rated it as
Whatever you
excellent,
put in the minutes,
I understand. But what I put in the minutes, do you look at it and when you rated that?
Take it into consideration, yeah.
what do you mean?
Do you take it, if it's in the minutes that he's not doing, that we have issues with him,
Yes.
you would, common sense would tell me that you would.
You're the one that types that information, Ramon.
Correct, but
We've only done this one time, I believe. This here, one time.
I don't think you're understanding my question.
Maybe not.
The question is, I know that I've noted at least several times that we're not happy with his work in the minutes based off the discussions we talked about. So you receive it, and as I agree with you there. Now, when you make that determination, you said that you email all of us, and I guess we have to respond, but now let me ask you this. Do you take into account the minutes when you rated that guy or that agency? That's my question.
At the time, that didn't come forward. I haven't done this again. I have not done this anymore. This was that one time. So at the time, you guys evaluated him accordingly based on this comment I put on the paperwork.
I think everyone is like jumping on Kim and saying.
No, I have to be honest.
Let me finish, because you have a big mouth and I do too.
Yeah,
And what I'm saying is, we all attack, not we.
nobody's attacking
You,
anybody.
okay,
We're just
but
asking.
she's the focus of the person who's not doing something right. She's not the wizard. We all know there's another wizard out there that's pulling strings and making a lot of decision that comes down to her. She's the front that we see.
The
And
folk-
she, let me finish,
Mhm.
just let me finish. And she comes in here, she work hard just like us. So
Harder.
I'm quite sure whoever she's working with is telling her what to do, and she's following her direction. So when anyone come and say they blaming her, they have to look what's behind her. All of us in here are professionals, and we all know, I work for the Board of Education, and we all know that me as an educator doesn't run the ship. What takes place
Yeah, somebody
downtown.
else is
So
doing it.
we get our directive from downtown. So we have to look beyond Kim and say, who is making, let's go back to Citron. Let's go back and say, okay, well, we need to change our bylaws before we just make her the scapegoat. It's not
No,
right.
I don't think anybody made her escape.
And
I
I
just
but what
got
he's
some
saying,
information.
but what he's saying about the security, we have been complaining about the
Yes,
security.
and Kim's been here too. She
And
knows that
she's
we're not
been
happy
here.
with him.
But who really signs the paper to hire?
Kim
police?
did, 'cause that's
She's
what-
She's not-
not the
I'm not
person
the-
who's doing
let me
the
say-
Yeah,
let-
she's
let- let me say
she's
something.
not,
Let me-
she
let
has
me
a
say something
superior
in
that
regards
she
to
has to
this.
answer to.
I
Yeah.
sent
Yeah.
that email, I said,
Yeah, you
this
have. I know you
email
have.
came up from procurement
Yeah.
to fill this paperwork out. I asked all of you for your
Yeah.
input.
Yeah.
Whatever you said, I compiled on that. Now, after the fact, when you all stated that you're not happy with
Every
Marana or
month.
Integrated, whoever,
Every
I notified him that you want more
He
phone
came in
calls.
one time.
You want more, he's not here because he's ill.
Okay.
But the minute you tell me to do something, I do it.
No, my
So-
question was just on that rating of excellence, because I don't think that he's
It wasn't
excellent on
excellent, it was
anything.
And it
One of them is
we haven't had time to
excellent. One of them is
digest it, we gotta
excellent.
see the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it might have been that.
Yeah, but it's
the time may
not, it's not just
maybe
about
out
him,
whack,
this
you
is a
know?
bigger picture though, it's still.
So I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
that, you
Still a
know,
bigger picture.
big brother, if you will. Yeah, yeah.
How long is Milano been working as an investigator for us?
Probably 2, 3.
But you know the other thing,
And when did we have that major complaint that we started seeing his
I think it's
opinions?
2014.
Was it 14 or 15?
He came at least over,
Because it was
well over a
15.
year
And
ago.
he was
2
due,
years.
you had a year, and he's due in now, but he's not, he's ill.
Right.
So I asked him to come, he can't make it. So as soon as he's well enough to come in, he'll be,
Come in,
he'll be
and then we
in.
can
Okay.
answer his questions.
but
it's
the
still,
other
Well, I
thing,
mean,
the other thing that I was gonna say, I mean, that, I have to look at it, because I have to digest it, I don't wanna, jump on Kim, but the thing is that there's not an authority that says that we can't not look at tabled cases. You know, it's just an opinion, but an opinion without any, like, you know, a statute cited or a case that,
That's
it doesn't count. That's probably an even bigger issue, because had we been able to review it, I think you probably would have received, you know, or it would have been, you know, it would have been something that I think you'd be interested in. But the thing is, we were told that we can't review it, that we can't review it.
So we go to the next case.
Right, but the problem is that we
Reason why
can't
it
review
was
it.
But that's corporation
What was the
counsel.
Correct.
Because there's litigation.
Correct, that's not Kimberly, that's not her fault. But the thing is, but we need,
So when do we
We need-
review
right.
it? When it's done with
Corporation.
litigation?
that's the problem, because we don't have a site, we don't have an authority citing.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna be all done. This is a copy of some of the documents that I felt were important enough to bring here tonight, and I put on the top for the secretary.
Uh-huh.
So there's a packet for you.
Okay.
And I want to say on the record, Ms. Taylor, I have no axe to grind with you, and I do know that you have bosses who guide you in your day-to-day affairs and probably give direction. I have a problem ethically with the Corporation Counsel's office
Yeah.
being in charge of your executive assistant, okay? Because they're not gonna do anything that's gonna make their job more difficult. So all I'm saying is, I've come here tonight, you're gonna see me on, I guess it's November 15th. I'm gonna bring my camera, and it's not a threat, Ms. Stevens. It's a memorialization of exactly what was done here tonight, and the next meeting, and the meeting after that, because Mayor Bronin ought to be ashamed of himself for not appointing the additional members to this board, because there's $183,000 being spent to investigate the complaints, to give to a board that he doesn't think two dog bones about.
And the chief thinks even less of us.
You know something? No comment.
May I ask on this request thing? This is for material that you do, not what we do. Is that correct?
It's a combination of both.
Where does it say in here, anything that we do?
Well, based on
Based on what?
the comments that you gave, I did the evaluation based on that.
Yeah, okay. I felt that this was strictly a clerical, pardon the word.
Something like that, we need to bring to
How
the
often do
table
you
and
send that out,
discuss
Ken,
here
to the
at
board?
front.
Is it yearly or
Board or
bi-yearly?
procurement?
No, I mean, for us, for the board to look at the comments,
I
to
haven't had
review.
another one, I don't.
But normally, do you do it
Whenever I
bi-yearly?
get it from procurement.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe one is coming up, I'm not sure. We don't know their schedule.
They give this to you,
So
right?
they
That
told
just
me
means
that
they
they-
send that. Okay.
So he came in May, I believe, or
Yeah,
April.
this is, this is-
I don't remember when he came in.
Look at
It
this.
wasn't April, I think.
The board
March.
cannot hear cases reading.
And you gave him a
It
year,
gives
so
you-
it would have
yeah,
been,
that's
May
right.
would have been around the time that he should have been coming back.
Right.
Oh, this was
So you guys were
the,
not here for 3 months? So that, 3. It
But
was
it's
June-
not-
Wasn't
they
it
don't
June, July,
say.
and August?
Correct.
No, didn't we meet in June?
We did not.
talking about that other end of that, I
Well, the problem is that we only have 5 members
It says,
present,
look at that sentence. That's
and we have to have 5
Look at how they
members
wrote it.
for a quorum.
It-
So
it leaves
one
you
of
to
us having
believe it's
vacation.
something that isn't really true.
Mr. Butler, you don't have to try and explain anything to me. I see what the issue is. In my opinion, the mayor should be placing 4 more people on this board post haste yesterday, last week, you know, before Ferguson,
Absolutely.
before South Carolina, before all of the other incidents around the country.
Right here in
and-
Hartford.
And before incidents, and I'm gonna tell you, I was at Flatbush Avenue.
In the past, I have no idea what the new mayor will be doing or not doing. But before anybody is appointed, I have to interview them and make a determination whether they don't have an agenda. I don't want people that hate cops. I don't want people to say all citizens are right. You know, there are people like that, I'm sure you come across them.
When's the last time you interviewed somebody?
Me?
I'm the
I
last
used
guy to
to
come
do
in.
it for a
You
living.
mean, right?
No, I'm saying,
on
when's the last
Tuesday.
time you interviewed a prospective member of this board?
Oh, Mr. Torres.
That's probably 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
14. Oh,
We
well,
had people come in and left
Yeah.
because it was too much.
We've had
And
nobody
I got
that,
appointed.
Yeah, we had-
Remember, I came to meetings for about 8 months before I could even read a case.
Mayor Bronin ought to be ashamed
Well, I
that
couldn't
he
read
has
anymore.
not prioritized this board and in fact, given it a little bit more authority and teeth, and then go to the collective bargaining agreements and give this board some authority.
I don't really care about teeth and authority, I wanna get us working. I wanna get the chief just to let me know what he did to those officers. And it's like pulling teeth.
Okay.
But you know,
idea.
you have your cases.
Okay,
Yeah,
people, it's
I think-
8 o'clock, I have a son taking the
Yeah, it's
SAT
8 o'clock.
tomorrow, I need to get home to him. Gotta wrap this up.
I will understand